You bow to your teacher before class starts. Your little brother serves you tea because you're older. And your parents spend 10 minutes discussing whether Uncle Mike should sit closer to Grandpa than Aunt Susan at tonight's dinner.
Stop it. Get some help.
These are all signs that you're living inside a philosophy textbook written by a guy named Confucius 25 centuries ago. Except nobody bothered to tell you that your daily routine is actually ancient political theory. This frustrated scholar from 551 BCE wanted to stop a brutal civil war by teaching people proper etiquette. And somehow his lesson plan became the operating system for modern East Asian society. Welcome to Rice University, where we teach things they don't teach at Harvard. Or maybe they will after today's class on Confucianism. Confucius, who we call Confucius because European missionaries couldn't pronounce his actual name, was born in 551 BCE into what historians politely call challenging times. Zhou dynasty was collapsing like a house of cards in an earthquake. China wasn't one peaceful kingdom at this point. It was 14 separate states locked in centuries of civil war, each ruled by warlords who treated diplomacy like a suggestion and violence like a career path. The feudal system that kept things stable for hundreds of years was completely broken. Infrastructure was crumbled, farms lay abandoned, and food became scarce, while local lords fought over territory like toddlers fighting over toys. Into this mess walks Confucius, a guy from minor nobility who lost his father young and grew up poor. Somehow he managed to get educated in classical Zhou texts. He was obsessed with ancient governmental systems and convinced he could fix everything. The only caveat is that rulers would need to listen to his brilliant ideas. So Confucius spent years traveling from court to court, pitching his political philosophy to various warlords. His argument was revolutionary for its time, but sounds obvious now. Instead of ruling through fear and violence, why not try governing through moral example and education? Why not create a society where people want to behave well because they understand why it matters? Every single ruler basically told him, "That sounds lovely, Kong, but we're busy conquering things right now, so maybe come back when we finished stabbing our neighbors." Nobody wanted to hire him, nor did anyone implement his ideas. Confucius died thinking he was a failure. He had no idea that this rejected political consultant was about to accidentally create the most durable social philosophy in human history. So what exactly was Confucius teaching that seemed so revolutionary but impractical to his contemporaries? His solution to political chaos boiled down to three interconnected ideas that probably sound familiar if you've ever been lectured by Asian parents: education, family values, and ritual behavior. First, my specialty, education. While other political advisors were recommending harsh laws and brutal punishments to control people, Confucius suggested moral self-cultivation, which is lifelong character development through learning. He thought humans are naturally capable of becoming decent people, but they need guidance and practice. You can't just tell someone, "Be virtuous," and expect results. You have to show them what virtue looks like, give them examples to follow, and create environments where good behavior gets reinforced. Then there's family. Confucius argued that families are training grounds for society. If you can learn to respect your parents and elders, cooperate with siblings, and understand hierarchical relationships at home, you're prepared to function in larger social structures. But the famous Confucian concept of filial piety isn't just about blindly obeying your parents, but about learning reciprocal responsibility. Parents need to take care of their children, whereas children respect and eventually care for their aging parents. Confucius extended this logic to all of society through what he called the 5 relationships: ruler and subject, parent and child, husband and wife, older and younger siblings, and friends of different ages. Notice the pattern? Because every relationship has a hierarchy. The person higher up has the responsibility to guide and protect, while the person lower down shows respect and loyalty. It's supposed to be mutually beneficial, not exploitative. And then we get to ritual, which is where Confucianism gets really interesting. When Confucius talked about ritual behavior, he actually meant all social behaviors that make civilization possible. How you greet people, how you eat together, how you show respect, and how you resolve conflicts without violence. In his ideology, the depth of your bow communicates your relationship to the person you're greeting. Seating arrangement at dinner reflects and reinforces social harmony, while even something as simple as serving tea becomes a way of expressing care and respect. Confucian ritual makes abstract moral concepts concrete and practical. Instead of just telling people to be respectful, you give them specific ways to demonstrate respect. No ruler wanted to hire Confucius. That sounds stupid now, but that rejection might have been perfect timing because his ideology ended up spreading like wildfire. The Analects, which is a collection of Confucius's greatest ideas as remembered by his disciples, wasn't written by Confucius himself. His students compiled it after he died, creating what amounts to a philosophical greatest hits album that captured his personality, his teaching style, and his approach to problem solving. But the real breakthrough came during the Han dynasty, about 4 centuries after Confucius died. Han emperors had a problem. They'd just unified a massive, culturally diverse empire, and they needed a way to run it that wasn't just holding a sword up to their throats. Suddenly, Confucian ideas started looking pretty sweet. Han created the imperial examination system where government officials had to pass tests on Confucian texts to get their jobs, creating a shared ideological framework for the entire ruling class. If everyone in government had studied the same texts and absorbed the same values, they'd theoretically work together more effectively. The system worked so well that it lasted for over 2,000 years. Generation after generation of East Asian leaders were trained in Confucian thought, which meant Confucian values got embedded in laws, policies, and social institutions across the region. What's impressive about Confucianism is how it spread beyond China without armies or conquest. Korea adopted Chinese-style Confucianism as early as the 7th century because they wanted access to Chinese cultural prestige and administrative efficiency. Japan did the same thing, importing Confucian texts along with Buddhism and Chinese writing systems. By the 16th century, the Tokugawa shogunate had established Confucian academies throughout Japan, making Confucian education available to all social classes. Vietnam integrated Confucian ideas into their educational system and government structure. Even Southeast Asian countries that never fully adopted Confucianism still absorbed concepts like filial piety and hierarchical respect through Buddhist networks and trade relationships. Back to that dinner table argument, because now you understand what's really happening. Your parents apparently are just maintaining a social system that's been stress-tested for 25 centuries. When your grandmother insists that Uncle Mike sits further from Grandpa because he's younger, she's implementing Confucian hierarchy theory, where respect flows upward and care flows downward.
Stop it. Get some help.
The seating chart is purely about making sure everyone understands their role in the family support system, not about who likes whom. And the tea your brother brought you is related to moral education, being disguised as beverage distribution. He's learning deference, you're learning responsibility. The Confucian idea is that if he can respect family hierarchy now, he'll understand how to navigate workplace hierarchies, community leadership, and social cooperation later. But this system only works when everyone plays their part. Without mutual responsibility, relationships break down. The older sibling who demands respect but shirks duty becomes a tyrant. The parent who expects obedience but withholds guidance becomes authoritarian. And the teacher who requires deference but fails to educate effectively betrays the entire framework. Confucianism is some ancient relic that modern societies have outgrown, is what you think. But spend 5 minutes observing either East Asian business culture or educational systems and you'll realize it's very much alive. Look at South Korean corporate culture. Its elaborate hierarchy and group loyalty expectations come straight from Confucian organizational theory. Japanese concepts of social harmony and consensus building reflect Confucian political philosophy, while China's emphasis on educational achievement and family honor shows how classic Confucian values adapt to modern competition. If you think you are good at something, there is always an Asian better than you, which can be explained by the Confucian belief that moral character develops through disciplined learning. What's remarkable is how adaptable Confucian principles have proven to be. They survived the collapse of Imperial China, Japanese militarism, Korean modernization, and Vietnamese socialism. Even in countries that never fully adopted Confucianism, you can see its influence. Singapore's emphasis on meritocratic governance and social stability draws heavily from Confucian political theory. Taiwan's democratic transition maintained Confucian respect for education and family values. Modern China combines socialist economics with Confucian social organization. The philosophy that started as one man's frustrated attempt to end the Civil War through better etiquette has become the cultural DNA of the world's most economically dynamic region. Not bad for a rejected political consultant. Now, 25 centuries later, Confucius is still teaching, and you're still learning, whether you realize it or not.